Hi, and welcome to Complete and Cast, the official podcast for Complete and Box video games. Today, we have episode 58, which is the second part of our The Rise and Fall of Gamestop from an insider standpoint. We are joined once again by Mike Finch and RJ Robledo. Thank you once again for joining us, and obviously, please watch 57 or listen to 57 before you listen to this, because we're going to head straight in. We're going to go straight into the shady practices, is what I have written down. So, a lot of this was brought on by some YouTube videos I've been watching of, people saying different stuff that's been happening, and I just kind of want to get it straight from the horse's mouth in the room. So, what were some shady practices that you saw, both from corporate and other employees?
Adding on that, the GPG without the customer knowing.
That's a common thing. I've heard that's a common thing.
The dollar ones were very common.
Okay, so you get a $20 game, which I think counts for the dollar ones, and you just throw it on there. Like, many, or...
I think it was, if they had the card, and it would take that 10% off, and it was like the $3.
Balance it up.
Yep.
Wow. So you just put that on there.
You were told to do that, and if you didn't...
Wow.
Especially when the manager was around while you were ringing out.
So that was a thing you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Just put that on. Just put it on. Don't talk to them. Mm-hmm. Finch, anything off the top of your head?
Nothing too crazy from the management point. Trying to sneak power-up cards into pre-owned purchases of $150 because it would even out because of the 10%. Because people would just be like, yeah, whatever, I was going to pay that amount anyway.
Yeah.
Just tacking on.
Well, I mean, I would just always just say it's free. If people got $160 worth of used games, I would just say it's in fact you'll save $1.
Yeah, you'll
or it's
make
free.
Money back.
I don't understand on that one why you would have to sneak that in.
Yeah.
So from some of the YouTube videos, I wrote down some examples and see if you guys can corroborate any of these. The one guy said that employees would just ring up power-up rewards cards without saying anything, just adding it to the total. That's
the free ones, yeah.
Yeah? Well, no, this guy said that literally the sub cards, they would just add it to the total.
No.
Because apparently, and this is so shady, but up there in a southern area, I think in Texas, and a lot of people don't speak English down there, and they would just add it. They would just be like, here you go.
Yeah,
and
it pissed me off when I heard that.
Yeah. Oh, so you're right. Yeah. Yes, or you saw that. Yeah, and I can imagine it. I didn't know if you guys had any corroborating stories with that. I also heard from the YouTube video that people would... if there was a customer that didn't pick up a pre-ordered game and said they put the full 60 for it, someone would cancel it and then put a bunch of reserves towards other stuff. Is that anything you guys have?
I've seen that once or twice. I didn't do it personally because that's shady.
I mean, it certainly is.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily 60, but someone has $40 down. You're like 5 reserves. I get 5 free subs.
Yeah. So
kind of thing.
It happened, and they would be like, how many months out are they from picking up this reserve, and you know they're not going to pick it up? Do you need numbers today? You better slice that up.
Wow. And that's something you've definitely seen. RJ, have you seen anything similar to that?
Not to that extent, no.
No. But that's something that's definitely... Yeah,
it's happened.
That's definitely happened. Here's another one brought up from the video that I thought was pretty interesting, and RJ alluded to it last time. Red Dead Redemption's normally $60, but it's on sale new for, let's say, $40. Okay? So the used copy would still be $55, right? But, or no, I'm sorry. I forget how to explain this. So it goes down the sale for $40, and it happens to be used on sale for $35. So what you would say is this is normally $60, but if you get it with the card, it's $35 plus the extra $12 that you'll get for it. So literally, instead of paying the $40 for the brand new, they'll literally be like, dude, instead of it being $60, you literally, the whole thing with the card is $47. I've heard that kind of stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything to get that card.
Yeah.
Some days.
So literally, you would just, again, not tell them that it was new or not tell them that it was on sale. You'd be like, listen, dude, this is normally $60, but I got a deal for you, kind of thing, right? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So that's kind of what I thought on that.
Yeah, like I said, GTA did that a lot, and it was always the 30 new, the 55 pre-owned, and the numbers mattered, so you had to push the pre-owned.
Yeah.
Whether we had 30 copies or 5 copies, you always have to tell them we don't have any new.
So I'm not going to name names. obviously not going to dox
This is what
anybody.
this is what we've all been here for, boys. Here we go. Boys and girls out there.
However,
And dogs.
employees, since most of us knew we were being taken advantage of, you remember pennying stuff out?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Pennying. Like,
Oh, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
pennying out is when GameStop is uninterested in selling a product anymore.
Yep.
Instead of, like, putting it on sale for, like, $1 or whatever, they penny it out, so the price sticker comes out as a penny, and you're just to throw it away.
Yeah.
You're not to do anything else with it, you're to throw it away.
Yeah, you would get fired immediately if they found out that you were taking pennied stuff, because they're like, you're stealing product that we're throwing out. So, a good many would just set it out by the back door, drive around, pick it up.
Make sure they were the ones that took trash out that day.
And here's the thing, a lot of it was sometimes like collector's item stuff.
Yeah.
Collector's game manuals, which we don't get to see as often anymore. T-shirts, hats, wallets. Like, why would you throw this out? We would just divvy it up and be like...
I understand throwing something out that's, like, broken or whatever, but, like, literally they're good-to-go items that, like, I guess corporate says it's not worth it sending back to us, the shipping or whatever, so, instead of putting on a flash sale on a table for $1 each, it's like, no, don't give it to anyone, don't take it, you are to throw this away. Yeah. Another one I remember was Field Destroys, which I'm sure they still do. So I remember a very specific one, and I will tell you the honest truth that I took this item because I do not give a crap. Deal with it. Yeah. Somebody bought a Tatsunoko vs. Capcom fight stick for the Wii, which at the time was like a $80 to $100 fight stick. It's weird that it was for the Wii because Wii wasn't known for fighting games. So it was a really nice fight stick, and he bought it, and then like a couple days later he was like, I just don't want it. And the only way you could do the return, you did the return like normal, but then instead of printing out a sticker for like a used price or a sticker for send back to warehouse, it was Field Destroy. So literally, because this guy was like, I didn't need it, but it's already open, you literally are just supposed to literally take it to the back and just smash it to pieces. Instead of like a reasonable store would be like, let's test this out. Let's put it on a Wii. Like, we can do that on our time off or whatever. It's no. Don't even do it. We don't have a used SKU for this. We don't take trades on this. This is just new. Destroy it. And I took it. I do not care. Like, that was ridiculous for them to do. Like, I'm not destroying a really nice stick. I probably still have it somewhere in the back room here.
It happened for
I'm not at the store, by the way. Yeah. I'm at my house. So
that happened with God of War Ascension for the PS3 for me. Somebody brought it in. They had the statue, the steelbook, and everything. Phenomenal.
DC Universe. We had for the collector's editions with the Batman statues. We split them, and that's actually how I have my computer mouse. Is somebody brought back a Razer Chroma, much like you have right there.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to go to Field Destroy, and my friend was like, "Yeah." I
mean, it's GameStop employees are very infamous for taking dollared out things. I can't prove it, but I know for a fact when someone works at a GameStop and they like come in with a bunch of like strategy guides, and I'm like, these seem rather new, and I'm like, okay, you don't have to say anything to me. These were pennied out, or Field Destroyed, and we'll buy them because we're rational. We can use these.
It only makes sense.
We can use these collector's item guides. I'll sell them as used, even like it's fine. But they're infamous for like doing that or taking standees and selling them online. Like, but here's the thing. You're giving them 10 hours a week. You're a third key and you're getting 15, 20 hours a week, and I'm going to take that standee that you're going to throw out and I'm going to sell it on eBay for $50 or whatever because you are not giving me hours.
So my exact check outside of here.
Yeah. I think we have to like clarify this. We are not justifying like stealing actual shit.
No.
But this is like if
stuff that was going to be thrown away.
We had a yard sale the other week, and the stuff that didn't sell, I was like, I am uninterested, and I just put it out at the curb. This is GameStop putting it out the curb. Everyone knows it. It's on the curb, unless it has a sign on it that says, please call $10 or whatever, then it is free. It is on the curb. This is GameStop curbing it. And it's just a ridiculous policy. Like, it makes no sense, because I guarantee for those collectors, sometimes those pennied out things would go for $25 to a penny. Not even like, what about $5 to get something for it? It was just like, 25 a penny, get it. Yeah. We care that little about this kind of thing.
Not only that, like, they would still have CIB like games. Like I said, DC Online, had all the statues, had the art book, had everything, and they just trash it. And I'm like, your employees would kill for some of this stuff
really
because,
good
like,
statue, too.
we are so broke from what you are paying us that we can't afford the collector's
Honestly,
editions
like,
we want.
I understand their point of not being like, it's free reign for the store, because that, like, for employees at the store, because I feel like stores that aren't as close would be like, it's mine, I'm the manager, I get it all kind of thing. I get that, but I feel like there would be a nice middle ground there to not just be like, just destroy it. So
For the one up here was always whoever was working.
First
dibs.
Yeah. I mean,
Or if you knew somebody was into something, you're just like, hey, we got
that makes sense. So let's get into the topic of micromanaging. A lot of what we've been talking about has been micromanaging, but GameStop is
Nightmarish.
like retail all has a little bit of micromanaging, but GameStop is like unbelievable on it. So off the top of your head, can you guys think of any, like, the biggest examples of some, like, say maybe the district manager or regional manager or even your manager just micromanaging something where you're like, it's not even necessary? And if you guys can't, then I can start out with the story. Would you guys like me to? Maybe it'll...
yeah, if you want to start,
okay.
I want to hear.
So, I remember specifically having to move entire sections in the store just because, and it was mostly Nintendo, wanted their stuff at a different place. So I specifically remember the Golden Triangle, right when you walk in, is a great spot for, like, a very popular system or whatever. And I specifically remember having to move the Wii right up front in the door and having to move the Xbox 360 way to the back, even though anyone with a brain, and it's not like 2005 when Wii was crazy, would tell you that the 360 is more popular than the Wii. But because Nintendo's like, put this here, it's like, move the entire section. It makes no sense. Like, the Wii should be in the back because it is just less popular.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that the companies pay for where stuff goes in the store.
Absolutely, and they do that.
Yep.
I also remember, this is the most ridiculous thing we ever had to do. I remember having to go to the Wii section and take every single sticker off and move it. So if you look at a Nintendo Wii game, the upper right will say Wii, right? It's not enough that the box is white or Mario's on the cover,
or it's underneath a Wii section.
So the standard process is you would put the sticker on the upper right, made sense, but it would cover the Wii insignia. We had to literally take every single sticker off, move it 3 inches lower so you could read Wii on that.
Yep.
And again, I don't know if that's necessarily as much of a GameStop like micromanaging as a Nintendo micromanaging, but it certainly is a GameStop letting that happen.
It's always Nintendo though, because didn't they do that with the GameCube as well? Because they had GameCube on a spine at the bottom.
I think they did that as well.
You remember sticking them on the actual, like, labels? The UPC? People used to stick the stickers on the inside labels of certain games.
I mean, we still do with that all the time when people bring stuff to trade in, because I'm just like, you can tell, it's funny, it's almost like a history. You can tell what era of GameStop it was bought at, because it's like, okay, yellow sticker, like 05, 06, 07. Yellow sticker with a yellow sticker on the spine. That was the worst part about working back then. Then it's about that time.
Yeah.
Smaller sticker, big sticker, where's the sticker? And you're right, instead of just, like, it just makes sense to put, either only a sticker on the front or a sticker on the front and the back where the UPC is. But Finch is right. You would have to, like, literally, instead of just putting it on the plastic where it's relatively easy to get off, you would put it on the paper underneath. So if you have a rare game, for whatever reason, it's like, well, forget it.
Yep.
Like, no one wants it anymore because you literally... That's why at CIB, like, for the games in the case, we'll literally put a little piece of tape over it so you can just take the piece of tape off nice and easily instead of, putting the dang sticker right on it. So... Before we move on, any other... I know we've hit a lot of this before, but any other specific instances of, like, just being micromanaged to hell, besides like the numbers and the stuff like that?
The Sunday setups.
Tell me.
So my manager at the time would only work one Sunday a month, which left me 3 other Sundays, and one of them was always to do marketing. We had an hour to an hour and a half of marketing, like, time to do it, along with closing and, like, finishing everything
So if
else.
you close at 6, you would start at, like, 4:30 or 5, something like that, right?
Yeah, like, we would... Because certain stuff you couldn't put up because of embargoes, and, like, that's how stuff gets leaked, is because somebody's like, hey, let me take a picture of, like, Call of Duty 4 promotions that are supposed to drop tonight.
I got written up for that once.
But
Really?
Yeah.
So for putting up something like too early or whatever.
No, I took a picture of it and sent it to my manager.
And your manager wrote you up?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, check this out. Oh, you're in trouble.
I was like, hey, we just got these in. Where do you want them?
And he was
Yeah.
like, don't put that out on the internet.
What if my phone gets hacked?
Yeah.
What if we sent it to the wrong person?
Oh my
Now,
god.
but like if you didn't finish marketing, it was like why didn't you get all this done? It's so simple, but you have to like change out banners and slide things, and there's always price drops that come with it because like the new sales are coming, so they have to be prepared for the next day. And
RJ, one question I have for you, because you're the newest employee here at GameStop, the
It
most
must be
recent.
known I don't work there anymore.
Yes.
I haven't for 3 years.
Listen, but you're still the most recent.
Yeah.
Was there a policy that started at some point where you would gut more than one copy of new games and like just like plaster a bunch of them out on the shelves?
That would mostly be high demand games, like sports titles. We never did that.
Right, but something like Red Dead, you would gut like 10 copies and put them all out there.
And it was never like 10. It was maybe 5. No, 4. Because you would have a section of new games. It was 4x8 or 4x6, and it was each title was.
It just seems unnecessary.
It is, but
To have
it
that
would
many-
have. It was because the people would go, they'd grab the case, and you'd have to still have something there. So they'd have 3 or 4 copies of just that gutted case.
Okay, because
And
you
those
wouldn't
became the ones that you were able to rent.
you wouldn't have time to actually put it back out because you were just working by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that was all
I guess that's a way of doing it if you're not going to have actual people on.
counts. Do you remember? Did you ever have to do counts?
No, because I was
that's
never
right.
I was
You
never
were
I was
GA.
never a manager. But was that when you did it in the morning before?
So every morning you opened, you were given
That's
count
right.
list.
Did you still have to do that?
Are you talking about the ones where we have this amount of used, this amount of new?
It was daily inventory.
So they would
Essentially, yeah.
So they would send you over random items. Am I correct on this? So
Yeah.
they'd be like, check how many Twilight Princess you have for the Wii, and you're like, scan.
Well,
Good.
it would be entire sections of games.
Oh, really?
It would not just be like, oh, you have to find these, or they would do accessories on top of it. So you'd have to do like
Those are horrible.
an
especially
Easter
used
egg
ones.
hunt, and if it was off, and you had to have it
Done before the store opened.
How long do you have before? Would you be in before the store opens? Like an hour?
give or take, yeah.
Okay.
They let you be in an hour before?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Were you supposed to be in an hour before?
No.
Okay. What? So opening, how early are you allowed to be in there before?
I was supposed to be there, I think, 8 some days. I think we opened at 10. That would be for, like, normal-ish counts. God, I can't remember when we opened.
Wow, that's such a waste. Like,
But-
that's such a waste of time to do the whole friggin' section. Like,
Yeah.
look at every Game Boy Advance game you have. It's like, dude.
DS.
Yeah, DS.
Games.
Ugh.
So, like, the big one used to be PS2 games. And then when we stopped taking trades on that, that was huge. But then the DS games started coming in without cases. And can you imagine counting, 25
No.
copies of, what's the
Brain Age.
Nintendogs?
Okay.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they had individual breeds too.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, you have to have 6 Dachshunds, a Golden Retriever, a Husky. Do you have enough?
Gosh.
Yeah. Oh my god. And if they were off, you had to fix them. You had to find out what was wrong, where they were at. Are they in Field Destroy? Are they in returns? Are they on hold?
I feel like I would have got fired just from literally being like, just going through it like that.
I was a
like,
broken human being. I used to just throw on headphones and
Wow.
do it.
It was nice doing those at the end of the day, though.
Yeah.
The ship to other stores.
Oh, so let's talk about that real quick. So this, I never, like I said, had to specifically do this, although I always helped my managers and whatever that's on. The biggest annoyance as being an employee there was something called RSBs.
Yes.
RSBs? I don't know what that means, though. Do you guys still do it?
I think that was the... What do you mean still? I don't work there anymore.
In 2016, in 2017.
It was the ship to other stores, wasn't it?
Yeah, but yeah. So they called it RSBs back in the day. So here's how it's supposed to work in a vacuum. Store A in Lancaster County has 1 million copies of. I'm gonna look at the Tom Brady NFL Game Day 2003 for PS2. Thank you, Base Brady. I had to add that in one time, right? But the store in Massachusetts has none, and they have a lot of people asking for it. So you send five of your 10 copies over there. It helps a need, right? That's what would happen in a perfect world. Now, what happens in reality is there are GameStops all over the country, and there's a lot of areas like this is all the stuff we're talking about. Generally, people around this area love video games, and generally, the GameStop stores, for the most part, aren't like destroyed. They're generally pretty nice, in my opinion. Like they're like very corporate, but it's not like, what is this? Like it smells like the carpet's ruined, right? So, but there's a lot of areas in the country where that is not the case. Yeah. Cities. A lot of places down south where you're just like, dude, do you guys vacuum? Like, do you guys do you ever get the walls? Just kind of get the walls, meaning fix up. Do you ever tidy up? Whatever, right? So, you would be sending one to Kentucky, right? And they would need all this items. So you get it all set, you get it all good. Takes you a couple hours because you have to get all this specific stuff. You want to make sure you're sending them stuff that's not scratched or broken. You want to give them decent stuff. You don't want to send them everything that's like great, like all your best condition. And that's another thing. Why in the hell would you send
your best?
The best. You wouldn't. Yeah. You don't want to send them the worst because then they'd be like, I guess they could report it like, store in Lancaster County sent us garbage, right?
You know what's weird though is they would have us send games that we had 1 or 2 copies of and be like,
you had to.
We don't think you're going to sell this. And then like now we are out of it, and then we get it in an RSB 2 or 3 days later in worse condition than what we sent out.
So again, these things are like, it's not like if CIB had 4 stores, or let's just say 2 to make it easier, and I wanted to send stuff between, I would like not be like jaded between it. I'd be like, oh, I think for some reason people like PS2 over in York or whatever, wherever the hell. We're never having another store, but whatever, right? Okay, so that makes sense. But like these are all separate people that you'll never meet in your entire life, and you're sending this stuff over. Why are you sending the best, first of all? And the second of all, after you start receiving some of these in and just seeing the garbage condition everything's in, you get to the point where you become jaded very quick, like, why am I... Like, I specifically remember, like, sending one and to, like, wherever, Kentucky in one day, and then the same day we got one from Bronx, New York.
Those are always fun.
New York.
Let's just imagine what that box looked like. So when we did it, it was like, you would rubber band all the cases together, alphabetical, I think. So when you get it in, it's oh, sweet, it's all there. You rubber band all the discs together, so they're all there. Boom, boom, done. So technically, when they get it, it probably takes them 15, 20 minutes to put away. You get the box from New York, you open it up, like, who threw up in this box? Yeah. You know what I mean?
And then you call, and he was like, hey, what's going on with this? And it was like, we shipped it in perfect condition.
Yeah. And it's just like, I specifically, and like, you're just like, I can't put this stuff out on my shelf, but unless your manager is going to be super chill and defect everything out, which... What's the point at that point? Done. I would. If I got something in that was like so messed up, every case is broken, every disc, I would just be like, why did they not defect all this out? Yeah. Like, what's the point? You know what I mean? And that's just another one of the busybody things. Again, I feel like what we've been doing here today for these last 2 episodes is kind of just building a pyramid where it's like, this is what they expect of you, this is the hours they give you, this is how much they demean you, these are all the dumb things you have to do, and here's how everybody else on every single level makes it harder. So we're at this point where it's like, you already expected all this stuff. You have to come in early to do the count for every PS2 game you have in store. You're going to be by yourself from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., right? Yep. They're constantly threatening you. You got written up for sending a text message with a picture on it. And then you open up this thing from Bronx, New York, and you look at it, and you're just like, what is this?
It was always New York, too. I hated that.
It was always New York. You just knew. Like, if you got it sent from, like, someplace, I don't know, like, Maine, you're like, okay, well, yeah, but it's, like, New York, and you're just like, am I putting this out on my shelf? You know what I mean? And then you just look at it, and you're like, I don't know. It's just a crap pile that just gets crazier and crazier.
The worst thing about RSBs was it wasn't like you just had to do one. You had 2 or 3, and like you said, the New York ones were super bad to get in. I've taken pictures. I had to email a district manager and be like, you guys cannot be sending me stuff like this. Like, I went out of my way as an ASM to email them. And the fun thing to do with RSBs was, like, if you went to send something rare, every now and again, I would be like, no.
We don't have it. Or something like that.
Yeah. I would be like, I'm not sending this because I'm buying it now. And then be like, can you do that? I'm like, I'm going to.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, again, if you're like, a place is crappy or sends you crappy stuff and they're like, hey, can you just send all your good stuff in store there? It's like, excuse me? And they, of course, they tell you exactly what it is. I just wanted to know the computer model they use for that, because sometimes it's like, oh, okay, this store could really use Sonic Riders for the GameCube. Like, they're just the Sonic Riders
what's
store.
the algorithm?
They're just the store of all Sonic Riders. You don't even know, dude. They're just having tourneys. It's just crazy. So let's head over to one of our final subjects here tonight, and that is the public's perception of GameStop, which I have a feeling this won't be too positive. So, obviously, the public's perception of GameStop is unbelievably low, and I feel like it started around 08, 09. I feel like that's generally, because like I said, we talked about it, and people loved GameStop in the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
I feel like it's up to 08, 09, maybe even 2010. The best way you can tell how the people feel about something is honestly in memes and social interactions. So, like,
memes are the core of GameStop.
It just is what it is. So, I've been shared by probably 1,000 people on my Facebook the meme where they show a big game room with 1 million games and it says,
I'll give you like $3.
Right. Mm-hmm. GameStop be like, I'll give you $3, right? And that is like literally, if people say GameStop, that's the public's perception of it, right there. And here's the interesting thing about it from my point of view, because I'm constantly like seeing what they're giving and all this kind of stuff. Sometimes GameStop has ridiculous deals. Like, we just got done, they do a month in, I guess it's April and May, where they give cash same as credit for everything.
Yep.
And it sucks. And it sucks so hard. So normally they would be like, 175 store credit for a PS4, which is decent. I mean, we might go, we'll go a little bit higher or whatever, but they're like, this entire month, it's 175 cash for a PS4. A PS4 system we're selling for like $240 tax included. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to be like, okay, $240 tax included is like $220, so like I'm making like $40 on this PS4, which doesn't even cover like, the taxes, the credit card you're going to pay for, and the chance that it breaks down and we have to do something, right? So, like, sometimes they have these amazing deals that I'm like, I'll message the guys and I'm like, we have to honor this, but this is going to suck. Like, this sucks. This is very hard. Which is, like I said, it's interesting to me that it came to be that point, because sometimes they will give so much for something where I'm just like, I don't want to match this. I don't know why you're giving $37.50 in store credit for Lego Jurassic Park for the 360. That was the big one when that game was out, was like they were just giving almost $40 store credit for Lego Jurassic World, and I'm like, what is going on? So, do you guys have anything to add to that before I go on? Like, yeah, go ahead.
It all comes back to Grand Theft Auto.
Okay, go ahead.
They did the $30 new, the $55 pre-owned. And it was, you would go in, you'd buy it new, it would trade in for $35.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow.
I remember that distinctly because I know people that made a lot of money off of that.
Can you only do one copy of each game per transaction?
Per transaction.
Per transaction.
But if you have family and you catch on, you could make a pretty decent amount of money with just buying one copy of that game.
Right.
Go in. Yeah.
I mean, I know for a fact, because there's like entire subreddits on Reddit.com of like people getting deals like this, and people will be like, "Hey, GameStop's giving this, and you can buy it at Best Buy for it's on sale for $20, and they'll give you $35 at GameStop." So like literally,
it was the cash same as trade.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, I hate that so much. I hate it. You guys hate it. Like, it's just. I mean, it's good for customers.
I loved it as a customer as I was working there.
Right. That's and it's funny because like it's so inconsistent because, okay, for the longest time, like I said, they were giving 175 cash for a PS4, which in my opinion is a bit high. I like to do 140, 150, which I still think is very fair for a base model PS4. But then the second that ends, it goes down to, right now they're giving...
Probably like 75?
No, it's not quite that low, but it's like 130 credit, 100 cash. So it goes from like very unreasonably high to very unreasonably low. Right now, I just shared this with the guys the other day. They're giving for a Nintendo Switch, which is still gangbusters, right? I'll never look at a Switch on the shelf and be like, when am I ever going to sell this? Right? Like, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
They're giving like 115 in cash or like 110 in cash for it.
Wow.
But, a month ago they were giving like I think they were giving $200 cash for a Switch, like 180, 190, 175, something like that, and I'm just like, damn, like this is hard to catch up with. And then a week later, it's like, oh, like I'll message the guys in the group chat and I'll be like, don't even worry about it. Like you can,
it's already over.
Just give what we normally would think is fair, which is like gonna beat them by $60. You know what I mean? So I think a little bit has to do with that unreasonable up and down, you know, and the simple fact that they don't know when to stop taking something. Like, for instance, if I don't want, like, Madden 08 or whatever, I'll just be like, hey, here's the stuff I can take, it's $100. Here's the stuff I can't take, I'm just not interested. And sometimes customers will be like, you can have it, and I throw it in the dollar bin, and it's like, yay, great. But, like, GameStop will be like, oh, we'll take anything, we'll give you 2 cents for it. We'll give you 3 cents. And so how much did I get for Guitar Hero 3? Oh, 3 cents. Yeah. And it's like, even if you sell the game for $2, someone's like, oh, 3 cents? Like,
PS2 games.
I'd rather just throw it against the wall. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, people were furious when, like, and it made sense for it to be that low to a certain extent.
I mean, they should have just got to the point where they're like, we don't want it. Yeah. We don't take it. We'll sell it until we sell it and we're done. But like,
and they did that, but they did it too late.
It's that middle ground where it's like they can just cut it off and be like, yeah, Guitar Hero 3 for $360, we don't want it. Like, it's fine. But when you look at the receipt and you're like, 3 cents? Like, that's our thing. It's
but people took it sometimes.
Well, yeah, and it's funky.
Yeah.
But like, my thing is, like, if someone's like, what's the least you'll give for a 360 game? I'm like, if I want it, dude, 50 cents to $1. Because I feel like that's fair, where at least it's like, here's a where I'll give you $1 or $2 for it, like, even though it's a super cheap game, because like, I'm not going to give you 3 pennies for it, you know what I mean? And it's just that kind of stuff that really started, like I said, the memes for that. Again, the general perception is they buy your games for super cheap, and then they sell them for almost full price. Which I think, like I said, is sometimes unfair. Because sometimes they're, like, giving you, like... I feel like... I can't figure people out sometimes. They'll be like, oh, GameStop's only going to be $35 for this, and they're going to sell it for $55. I'm like, that seems really fair to me. Like, you got the card, it's going to be $50. Like, they make $10-15 on this game. They might not even sell it, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's super fair. And the most important thing to do is look at any of GameStop's social media posts. Anything they... I've seen them post about ridiculous deals, like trade in something and get way too much towards something, and every comment will be like, oh, GameStop sucks so much, or like, I'm gonna give you 3. That
here's the thing,
that
though,
kind of thing.
Those people still go to GameStop.
Still come in.
Like, so it's kind of the same thing back in Hot Topic. People would like talk all that crap and be like, oh, GOG store, whatever, blah blah blah. But they would still come in.
That's kind of the EA thing.
People will talk as much crap as they want, but like if they need a game and they can't find it on their spot, they're still going to go to GameStop, and there's like most of them are going to have a reasonably fine experience most of the time.
Right.
It's just funny to make fun of them because they're an easy target.
Yeah, and
they're the only game in town as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's the EA thing, like how
because nobody's making fun of Best Buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're exactly right. But even if people still go there, I feel like the general negative perception is just like gotten to the point where it's just too far gone. Which, let's bring it to the next point. Is there anything GameStop can do to right the ship?
Stop selling collectibles.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So let me preface this by saying I literally have not been in a GameStop since whenever the Ephrata one opened. I walked in for like 5 minutes, was like, hey, I just kind of want to see how big it was, where it was, and I haven't been in one since. So how has it changed since 2014-15?
Well, once again, I'll compare it to Hot Topic, because Hot Topic kind of did the same thing, but they kind of did it right, but not. Once the collector scene started becoming a little bit bigger and more recognized because of, the whole nerd influx and so on and so forth, GameStop was like, hey, we can start selling statues too. But you would find those statues in store, go on Amazon, find them $30-40 cheaper. Why are you going to go to GameStop? But they kept pushing it to now they have Funko Pops, but Funko Pops are everywhere. So
They certainly are.
Maybe you'll pick them up when you're at GameStop picking something else up.
But you're not there for that unless it's an exclusive.
But then they're like, oh, well, now we need to... And we've always kind of had T-shirts and, like, wallets and stuff, but now it's like
a
full...
main focus.
Yeah, it's like a full rack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, ThinkGeek?
Yeah, ThinkGeek they own, yeah.
So... All of their shareholders and their corporate sponsorships are running the stores now and being like, oh, you need to be a novelty store. Whereas I think if they went back to brick and mortar game, and I know it's hard because of the digital era now and everybody wants, PC or, oh, I'm just going to download it when I get home. It's tough because there's still people like myself. I want physical editions and so on and so forth.
Well, finish up and then I'll get into what you just said. Did you have anything?
Yeah, I just like they need to get away from being a novelty store. There's FYE did it, and look how fast they've been sinking.
What percentage of a GameStop store is dedicated to video games right now?
I would say
60?
probably about 50 to 60, depending on the store, depending on how big it is.
Depending on the store.
Okay.
You'll have ones that are GameStop / ThinkGeek, and you'll have ones that are GameStop, but they sell the collectibles and shirts.
Yeah.
And all that.
So
I think GameStop Premium or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Platinum. Prestige. That's what it's called.
Yeah. And well, now that GameStop is in the collectible market, it's upped prices substantially. So a Figma 2-3 years ago was about $60, which is pretty standard across the board. You'd see them at conventions and even online for about that price. Now that GameStop's in the market, I went to pick up a Figma that was originally $50, and before it came out, they upped it to $110.
Jesus.
And I was like, no way. You go online and it's 60 still. So like they know, like,
they know the market's there. They know they can make money. So
but they're not doing it right. So, and collectors know this. Like, we're not dumb. We're always going to look around and like try and find something else. And GameStop should have been competing with, I don't, as closely as you can with that back end market. But now it's just it's too much of a joke.
Especially if they're hurting, if they have all this new stuff, but they're taking away from the games they once had. That's the worst, because like
that's the
that was a thing that honestly, like when we did the second expansion for CIB, that was a thing that some people would like kind of ask me in earnest, like, I see you're adding a bunch of stuff like comics and your whatever, but is this going to hurt the games? And I was like, no. Like, the game section got like 10-15% bigger, but it also allowed us to do all this other stuff. Like, I would not have a big comic section or all these Funkos if I was like, dang, I need this room to get games out. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, oh, we have 1,000 extra square feet. Now I can do X, Y, and Z.
Which makes perfect sense.
But it seems like GameStop's like, we have 3,000 square feet. We need 1,500 to be T-shirts and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And because of that, they can't carry the super popular older stuff or put more stuff out on the shelf. It just seems like
they tried getting into the retro market too, and I think that fell
it was
flat
such a
on its
weird
face.
it was such a weird
because of
thing.
how they did it.
Yeah,
they're doing it right. They're just doing it right online, and not a lot of people know that.
Well, no, I would go as far to say that they're not actually, and just from me being kind of into the market, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to deal with a lot of older games, but you kind of have to know what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And it's clear that on the level that where they're taking the trade-ins, a lot of these people are not trained to do so. Yeah. So I've had people come in many times, and I'm not, not just one or two times. They'll be like, hey, I bought this game, this PS1 game online at GameStop. It came just disc only, of course, right? When would it ever come?
So odd.
And a lot of times they're like, okay, Toomba, like maybe it's $70 on GameStop, right? Like online, and it's like a complete and mint, that would be great. But what you're getting is a very, 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 very scratched up disc only. And they just don't have these people that can just like, they don't have the, I don't know what the word is, but they don't have the people to kind of go over it. That's 80% of what we do at CIB is cleaning and getting stuff and making sure it's tested and good to go out. Especially with the older stuff, you just have to make absolutely sure. There's tons of stories out there of someone buying Chrono Trigger for $100 on SNES and being like, it's a repo. Because the people working there, they're so used to newer stuff. It's like, oh, I have this game. Wow, look at that! You're getting $60 for that. Yeah, and it's just like a reproduction card or a fake card or whatever. I've had people come in so many times and they're like, I bought these 2 PS1 games on GameStop, never again, because they'd be like, can you buff these? We have that disc buffer. And I'll look at them, I'll be like, they didn't sell you this. They did not ship this to you. Crash Bandicoot was one I did a couple months ago where I just looked at it, I was like, I don't know if I can buff everything out of this. And it was $35, which is like a complete version. You know what I mean? So my thing is like, you're doing it half, I'll say it, assed.
I was going to say, I've most certainly sworn a couple times already.
You're doing it half-assed, and that does not work with retro. You can't do that.
No.
That you can do it. You can do. I'll be the first to say a lot of times with Funko Pops when people bring them in, I'm not going to say I half-ass them, but I'm not like, let me research this greatly. I'm like, what does Pop's price guide say? That's what it is, right? It's a $10 in Pop's price guide. That seems fair to me. Maybe it's 8, maybe it's 12, maybe it's 10, right? But you can't half-ass a huge retro trade. You can't be like, meh. I mean, Chrono Trigger is a $120 game. No, it's not. It's $120 in a certain condition.
Yeah.
It's $50 in another condition. It's $200 in another condition.
That's why I said they were doing it right online, because if you go to purchase it online, that's what you're assuming. You're assuming you're getting a complete edition of it.
Or even a nice version
close
of
to
it.
it.
Yes.
You're not assuming you're going to get
Disc
bottom of the
only
barrel.
Persona.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I was super worried when I saw that they were starting to take like retro trades and stuff like that. But then when I saw like how they're doing it and how many people are ordering, and they're like, I'm so fed up with this. Like, people are just like, first of all, it's more expensive there than it would be like at a CIB or another local store. But like, it's also like, like the condition is like, what the hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those discs they send are unbelievable. Like, I'm just like, the one guy had 2 or 3 of them, and I was like, they didn't ship them to you this. I literally, and he was like, dead serious, just got this in the mail today, and I looked at it and was like, what the hell? Now, think of all the places across the country where they can't drive 10 minutes down the road and find a game store with a professional strength disc buffer. Well, what the hell are you supposed to do then? A lot of places don't have there's a lot of places down south, Midwest or whatever, that only have Gamestop. So what the hell are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this game is trashed. The end.
Yeah, that's another thing with them being the only ones in town. They know that they're the only ones there, so they can monopolize everything.
Yeah. But like I said, I was very worried, but then when I saw how they did it, I'm like, okay, like, if you want to,
I really think that that's one of the ways they can get back into being what they were. Focus more on the games. Focus more on your customers and what they want and what they expect of GameStop, not of what you want as a company. They've shifted more towards making money rather than making the customers happy to make you money.
I mean, I find that it's a flow chart. You treat people right, you treat customers right, and you will make money. Mm-hmm. There are plenty of places that I feel have inferior compared to other places, or overpriced products that still do very well. Apple does very well.
Oh my God,
they treat their customers like they're gods among men. You know, everyone at the Apple Store is super nice and super great. You're going to pay a hell of a lot for the thing you're doing, but it's very good. But you know, that's my thing to add to your guys. You just have to treat everyone right. You can't, and I don't think this will ever change because they're too deep in it. You can't constantly be going to your employees and be like, I could let you go anytime. The guy on the YouTube video I watched, like literally his manager would just be like, you should resign. Like, you should just resign. You should just, like, and that, like, he would be told all the time, like, you should just give in your keys. And it's like, what do they gain from that? I don't understand what they gain from that, because then they're just pulling someone else in.
Yeah. It was a constant shift of, like, bringing people in and having to rework them. And, like, the constant, that would be a big thing. Get rid of the constant threat of being fired. Because then, like,
it's a negative reinforcement.
It's literally any job. If your employees like hate what they're doing, they're not gonna like get.
I would much rather
get
paid really crappy and absolutely love going to work, love being there, love dealing with the people there, than get paid $100 a day or an hour, even if that, and
basically get shat on.
Yeah, that's definitely, everyone has their different level. But I mentioned it in the last episode. Everyone has a level where you're like, okay, like I'll like.
I'm out.
I'm out. So I don't want to get too deep into this, but GameStop has said several times publicly that they feel the reason they've been going down recently is because of the rise of digital sales.
No.
Now, Finch answered for me. Here's my personal take without getting this too deep. I feel like more people are gaming than ever before. There's probably stats out there to say it. And although there is a percentage that does digital, and some people, quite frankly, that do digital only, the amount of extra people that have a PS4 or Xbox One nowadays makes up for it.
Yeah.
I mean, walk into Complete in Box tomorrow and look at our huge wall of PS4 and Xbox One, and I just backstocked a lot of that stuff. Like, people are buying physical.
Yeah.
They are. Like, the amount of games we get in per day is ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people like are starting to question the validity of like data storage. How long is it going to last? You know, and a lot of gamers now are the average gamer I saw is the age of like 35.
I would have thought it would have been higher, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I thought it would be like 45 just because of older people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, we very much understand that like digital isn't permanent and they can take it away at any time. Like, I had problems logging into a game I had a code for because my PlayStation wasn't set to the right admin. It, like, incredible. I can be locked out of a game that I have, like, legally downloaded because of, like, one small technicality.
And again, this is a whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
We could talk for an hour for that, but my major point is I think that's a cop-out, and it's a cop-out for all the things that they've done. Just say, oh, it's just the rise of digital sales. It's like, really? Like, there's plenty of indie stores around the country that are doing just fine. Amazon's doing fine. They don't sell... You know, whatever. Best Buy's... You guys still do pretty well with games?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I love selling games.
A lot of people pick up games at Best Buy's and stuff like that, so it's a cop-out to me. If 25% of people purchase digital-only games, I feel that a number close to 25% of new gamers there are, if that makes sense. There's 25% more gamers than there were 10 years ago. So it evens out.
And to that... and with us being different generations of working there, you could have sold to me at the store.
It's definitely possible.
Exactly.
It's really
the people that are playing games now the most are the ones that when GameStop first started, they were kids.
Yep.
So they didn't have their own money now. Now they have a choice. They can choose what they're doing. And if you're going to treat the gamers that were buying when they were kids differently throughout their experience, your experience is going to change. Your monetary value is going to change. And it's just, they have to adjust. That's one thing they have to do. They can't come with the same business practices. They can't adjust to fit their needs. They have to fit the needs of the customers that have been there since day one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Plus, we have stuff like this podcast, that YouTube video coming out, because people aren't scared of them anymore. Mm-hmm. They're a joke.
Yeah, I mean, just once I watched that one guy's video, I have a million like former employees that are like, it's terrible. It just is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. Like I said, I hate that cop-out of, it's digital. It's like, people, I mean, we just had a busy Saturday at CIB. We had, like, hundreds of, and I'm not trying to, be like, but we had hundreds of people come in. There's plenty of places where hundreds of people go in per day because they're looking for something to do. Mm-hmm. It's something fun. Oh, hey, here's this thing right here. It's like, give them a reason to come in. Don't constantly hassle them. Don't make your employees all depressed so they act all depressed. Like, someone who gets treated badly is going to reciprocate that in some way. Just all these different things.
It's going to show up in even your numbers. It's going to show up.
So, my very last topic here, and this might be actually a quick one, is why GameStop for so long has been able to get away with what they're doing. And by that, I mean... GameStop has, as we mentioned, a laundry list of bad practices, but employees tend to... There's a lot of people who have stayed... Like that one guy on YouTube stayed there for 11 years.
Yeah.
Even though he realized it's so bad. So, why, in your guys' opinion, before I go into mine, do you think GameStop can get away with treating their employees like that? Like, RJ, you were constantly, like, threatened your job. Like, every day must have been, like, literal, like...
It was hell.
Yeah. So,
but I loved working there.
Not to get too deep in here, but why are they able to get away with that as former employees? And again, I can't help on here because it was fun when
they
I
monopolized the game. That's exactly what they did. Hey, where are you going? What else are you going to go? What else are you going to do? We sell games and other stuff. Other places sell stuff and games. If that makes sense. It's like,
so
their main focus
if you
was
want to
games.
be around games as your livelihood,
this is where
that's
you have
it,
to
and
be.
you're just going to deal with all their BS.
Yep. And they would kind of focus on the people that they knew they could pull in.
Lifers.
That or people that knew that that's what they wanted to do. You want to work around games, you have to work here.
Yeah.
Nowhere else.
To like piggyback off of yours, and this goes more into like social economics, I think with the state of how things are, even if you have a crap job, you want to keep it so you can keep paying your bills. Even if it's GameStop, you're like, yo, maybe I'll just hammer it out a little bit more, and I'll be an ASM, and I'll get like $11 an hour. And
Wait, what?
Yeah.
When was that ever?
Wait, ASMs get less than $11 an hour?
I was making like 12 or 13 at the time, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that...
That's high. That's high.
Managers were making 15, 16.
Dude,
like,
I
if
literally,
you count
like,
their-
I don't mean to toot our own horns, like, the least paid person at CIB gets like $9.50 an hour. Like, I think it might be 10 now.
Yeah.
And it's not ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, it's like... So literally, a key holder ASM would get as much as, like,
9.
our...
Yeah.
As, like, our, like... Well, we don't really have a lowest rung. I don't want to make it seem like that, but just, like an every guy at the store. That's amazing. I thought they would get, like, $14.15 an hour.
Yeah.
That's insane.
No.
That is crazy. That's
Yeah.
and like sometimes I'll be like, I'll feel bad. I'll be like, I really want to give you guys a raise, but like, you know, stuff, you know,
Like,
things happen. But it's like,
what I'm working now, I'm making more than my former managers, both of them.
so that's a good point. Every single person, you, everyone else I can think of, when they eventually left GameStop, every single one, pretty much, I want to say the word instantly, found a better and higher paying job. Immediately. Like people, like, you know, it ranged from moving to Best Buy, which is also retail, to welding, to someone started doing like carpeting and was like, oh wow, I make like 4 times as much. Like, yeah, my knees hurt, you know, but at least I'm not getting yelled at every day. Every single person.
The worst part was making in a day what I did in a week. Like, and then with that first check, you're just like, man, what have I been doing?
Yeah, dude, my first welding paychecks, I was like, I have been missing out.
So
on this secret.
that's I guess that's my major point of this question is, how is GameStop able to get away with that? Where everyone I've ever met who left was like, and I'm not saying they suddenly were like, oh, I finished my my college, well now I can be a mathematician. It was just like, I just applied at jobs and got a better job, right?
Yeah.
And is it because of the fact that just people want to be around games and that just is what it is?
There's always this allure because when you're younger, like you won't listen to stuff like this or hear anything about it. This is more for people in their like 25, 30s.
Yeah,
who
I would say that would probably be the average. Yeah, I can't imagine someone's like 14 listening to this.
But
yeah.
when you're like 14, 15, 16, you're like, yo, I'd love to work at GameStop. I could get a discount
That's how
on
they got
games.
me.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, yo, what's the discount? 10%? That's awesome. Let's go. Oh, weekends when we occasionally get like 15? Awesome.
Really? It was always just 15 all the time.
It might have been that.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Do
don't
you
fully remember.
Because it was only a couple years ago?
I was 15 no matter what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I was like, imagine if they put that down even more. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
And once again, eventually you're going to catch lifers out of those kids because they're like, I don't really want to go to college. This is easy. Sure, my bosses kind of suck, but whatever.
At least I get the major thing is at least I get to be around games.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like that's the main reason they're able to just be so mean to their employees. It's like, oh, you know, everybody is so expendable where it's like, oh, if you want to leave, I have like 1 million people asking to work here because we're a place that does... Here's how I have it written down. My theory is that video games are a fun thing, so people don't want to quit a job that should be fun. Yep. So in their minds, they think, I love games, I want to sell games, even if GameStop makes it all anti-fun. So it's
100%.
Yeah.
You can't get more perfect on that.
Yeah. So they can literally just come in and berate you and say, I'm going to fire you and blah, blah, and then, you know, demean you and say, oh, I can get it. Imagine having a job where, like, everyone's replaceable in some way, except for me. Deal with it. Everyone's replaceable in some way. But, like, imagine just being told, like, oh,
you don't matter.
I could literally, if
I can replace you tonight.
If someone left,
snap it.
if someone left, like, at CIB, I'd be like, dude, like, I would have to, like, search around, and I would have to, like, blah, blah, blah.
Call me up so I can tell you no.
But, like, you know, I'd be like, man, dang it. Like, I can't just pick Joe Schmo off the street. But, like, literally, they're just like, oh, if you want to leave today, I'll just have someone in your spot standing right there and doing it just as good as you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's like, how are you supposed to work when they're telling you that? Like, in any job, Walmart greeter, doctor. Like, I don't care. Like, how if someone's just like, you're so replaceable, it's unbelievable. Like, you should just leave right now. Oh, you're not? That's because you're too stupid or whatever, you know.
And it sucks because, like, it's like you said, we love games through and through. Like, they're a part of who we are, and like,
absolutely.
And it's a community sense too, and we have all these people, and we want it to be fun, and it's just like, then you step into GameStop and it's you've entered Hades.
Well, that's literally how it was when I first started. Everyone was there enough that you got to like learn about them, and even if some of the managers were like, I don't play that much anymore because I got young kids and stuff, you're still like, oh, you're still a great guy. I know kind of what you like. Are you excited for this? Now it's you're working by yourself. You don't see as many specific customers. If you do, you can't talk to them about the specific stuff that they like. And
I mean, I did.
What?
Oh, I threw like corporate out the window, except at the register. The rest of the time, I was like, "Yo, what are you guys playing? What's up?"
But I mean, you're not supposed to. Or
No.
else by the way, last question before the future question: how many times were you both written up? Do you happen to? I don't think I ever was, but I don't think it was ever.
Which manager?
To how many overall?
Damn. I made sure I didn't hit the "you're about to be fired" thing.
Was there a firm number, or was it just kind of like whatever?
3.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you like? Are we
No,
talking
3
like,
was like the max before they started. Like, hey, we're gonna let you go if you get any more.
So are we talking like 3, 4, 5 times overall?
Maybe.
And what was?
4, I think 4 was.
What was the least major infraction? I guess besides the phone one you mentioned.
I think it was getting yelled at by the manager and then telling him, "Don't ever do that again," in front of a customer.
Wait, what?
All right, so
I didn't quite get that.
all right, so I'm sitting there, and everybody knows, like, when a manager doesn't want to do something, he'll tell you to do it.
Yep.
Especially his shelves. I was sitting there doing that. He was doing nothing. So I'm sitting there doing shelves, and a customer comes in. I greet him while I'm still doing that because, GA stuff. And they get the game without me knowing while I'm still putting stuff away, and they go up to the register. Manager's like, "What are you doing? Come bring the customer out." Yells at me while the customer is there. So I'm like, all right,
God.
all right, I get it. So I'm like, are you going to do
sir.
the shelves?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
exactly.
Yes, sir.
So I get up there, I do it. Customer leaves. I'm like, you ever yell at me like that again, I swear, you either be in here by yourself or we will both be outside. And
Well, just like
the next
even
day-
afterwards, it's fine, But
Yeah.
like while customers in there, it's just like, please,
Yeah, but it's just, nothing was being done by him. I was still doing something, and the tone, like, he was the lifer.
So here's my last question for you guys because we love stories.
Yeah.
Worst
Thanks.
customer story. Do you have any off the top of your head? Just not like worst customer, but worst customer experience. A lot of the ones I hear over on YouTube are people like a customer being unreasonable and like you saying this is policy, and then having the manager come in and being like, "No, you poor thing. He's so wrong. He's wrong. He's bad. He's bad. Yeah. You're good. Here's all your money back. Here's extra stuff. Please, we love you."
Make it seem like it was your fault. Yeah.
Yeah. And anything like that specifically off the top of your head?
No, I always told him how it was, no matter if I was right or wrong.
Yeah.
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 But
anyone ever like flip out and yell
all
or
the
throw
time.
things or anything like
that's
that?
part of GameStop. That's part of the circle of life.
I literally do not remember
Yeah,
that. I literally do not remember people like yelling. Like sometimes people will, of course, would like even at CIB. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, really?" And I'm just like, "Yeah." But I always start without getting the whole thing. I always start by being like, "Xbox 360 games pretty cheap, $2 to $5 a piece is what it is. If you're uncomfortable right now, we can stop." Okay, you aren't $50. Okay, you know what I mean.
It was always people that would trade stuff in and be expecting like $35, $40 for something, and they come in and it's $2 or $3. It's just what it would trade in for. Like,
Turning down,
I can't give you any more.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
turning down sealed games
Yes.
would infuriate people who
And
were
then telling
doing it for not legal reasons.
Okay, I was gonna say, was it shady? Because sometimes we get like a big pile of games, but one will be sealed. I have tons of sealed Blu-rays because I'm an idiot. Like I'll see it at Walmart for $5 and I'll be like, I'll watch that. I never do, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's not that. It's other. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's other things. Right.
With that, I would just tell people, be like, dude, go outside, come back in.
that was
I
always
don't
the
care.
worst thing. They couldn't open it in store.
Yeah.
Because then you'd get in trouble. For it.
Yeah.
I thought that the policy was you can't know that it was sealed. So, like, literally, they would have to be like, go open it, take it to another store, or take it later when I'm not here.
Yeah.
Was that the technical?
I was able to watch, but I think
or I would just send people outside, and then I'd have like somebody else ring them up.
Oh, okay, that makes
because
sense.
then I'd be like, oh well.
Let's also, as a quick aside, Walmarts around the world, your loss prevention is so bad.
Oh my god, I feel so sorry.
Like, I can't, as working at GameStop or CIB or anywhere, like, you can't guarantee something, and that's why you take ID. But sometimes you're like, it's kind of, you know, a shady situation when you're in it, and you just it just is what it is. So I can almost, like, whenever there's a shady thing, you're like, Walmart. I can't imagine this anywhere else. Like, oh, Target? Yeah. Oh, I go shop my stuff from Target. Yeah, right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Best Buy. I can't imagine someone, but it's like Walmart. Whatever you're doing, you're really doing it wrong. Like,
drop the ball on
and
loss prevention.
if it's small stuff like games and Blu-rays and stuff like that, I can't imagine on other stuff how that LP is. Which, by the way, I read the Crime Watch in Lancaster because I'm old. It's the website where it just shows you all the people that are,
that's always fun.
Whatever.
Always.
And like literally half of them are
robberies from Walmart.
No, specifically the Lincoln Highway Walmart. That place must be hell on earth. It's literally like, person filled up their entire cart with $500 worth of stuff and just left.
My girlfriend willingly shops there, and I don't know why.
Dude, I literally went there, and this is going to sound a little bad, but I went there with Ash, and I think we only had Ferris at the time, so he was younger, and it was such a culture shock. I guess is the best way of putting it.
Yeah, dude, it is a different dimension down there.
It's a different, and it's only 20 minutes away from here, and I was like, Ash, because my wife is Latina, and I was like, you got my back if something goes down. It was literally that's how I felt. I was like, whoa.
And then you look around and you're like, wait, everybody here is Latino. Like,
But that's why I said, you got my back if something goes down here, because, you...
Spencer can't understand what they're saying.
That's an aside, but they
What?
LP, the loss prevention at every Walmart is... The LP officer is like the worst job in America. That's a dirty job. That is.
It would be the easiest job as well as at a Walmart.
Well,
you wouldn't have to do anything.
Exactly.
Probably every 3 to 6 months.
Clock in, go to Indians.
Probably every 3 to 6 months, I have to go to court because essentially someone will, like, Finch's brother will steal his PS4 and bring it in. Of course, I'll take his ID, right? And then Finch will be like, hey, did he bring my PS4 in? Oh, dude, you know what? He did. And then Finch will be like, you know what? I'm pressing charges. Great, you're right, And then I have to appear as a witness to say, yeah, that dude. Even if I can, show the receipt and be like, here's the timestamp, here he is. I still have to show up, whatever. And it's always like a Friday morning at like 9 a.m. You wait there for like literally 3 to 5 hours. No joke. Yep. No joke. Because they just have every single person who did a similar thing. It's just all at the same time.
Yep.
Every time I've been there, probably 12 to 15 times, I have never, ever, ever once been called in. Because they just wait till it's up, and then the prosecutor's like, just take a freaking deal on this. Yeah. Just take the deal. Don't be an idiot, And there's been times where I've been there for like 3 hours, and then they're like, oh, it's the case of Aaron Brubaker. Whatever, that's not, just a name I made up. Aaron Brubaker. Oh, he's not here. Okay, we gotta reschedule it. Oh, I waited here for 3 hours for you to realize Aaron Brubaker's not here, and now they're gonna do it next month on a Friday. What if I don't, come next time? Well, you'll be held in contempt of court or whatever their lower thing. It's like, cool, thank you.
Yep.
By the way, the most mad I've ever heard anyone in my life, I was at one in Lancaster, and one guy didn't show up, the actual guy as part of the case, and the judge was like dropping like he wasn't even close. I wasn't even in the room. I was out in the hallway, and the judge was like, da, you put a warrant out, and I was like, dang. I was like, today I learned, don't waste a judge's time. He was like, if this wastes my time again, put a warrant. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, work on the loss prevention. Very last thing. Does GameStop have a future? And if so, what is it?
Possibly.
They could.
Are we talking 5 years from now? GameStop, say they have 5,000 stores right now. Just as an estimate.
I think it depends on the market. Because think about if like Sony and Microsoft decide to like finally start doing stuff together.
Which they have already.
Yeah. It's going to like minimalize that market even more, and they only push new product. If they don't have that much product to push, they're going to have to like start cutting it out even more. And once again, we're looking at like FYE, who used to be CDs, or like now they're like trying to do toys, vinyl, sorry, and they're like being phased out. I think if GameStop is smart, they'll, and I know it would suck for you, is like start seriously looking into taking care of the retro market.
I don't think they ever could. Like, honestly, just on a big scale,
Yeah,
they don't have the knowledge. Or
retro's different. New, you get a new game in, it's sealed, you put a price sticker, or whatever. Yeah. Retro, and I've said that before. It's different. You need more of a finesse. Just knowledge, a finesse. That's a great word for that. RJ,
they could, but they have to do a lot of adjustments.
Could you see that happening?
Not at all.
Yeah.
So basically, we're seeing the end of GameStop.
Yeah, I think I said this the last time we talked about GameStop. I don't see them having a future within 5 to 7 years unless they change their practices.
And we're talking practices. We really mean like everything we mentioned.
A total overhaul of the company.
Yeah.
Like
they have to get back to GameStop, and not.
And we've already seen that it's really not going to be the case because the CEO just announced he was going to resign. And from everything that I've read and heard, the new people that are coming in are just going to like be bottom dollar pushers. Yep. That literally, from what I understand, they're the kind of people that will like take a floundering company, turn it around over like 18 to 24 months, and then be like, we're done, we're selling it, kind of thing.
Bobby Kotick, 100%.
So literally, like, it's not even like we care. Things are about making money. I get it, but you could also be like, we want this company to succeed, and if you succeed, you make money. But this is going to be bought out by people who are just literally like, we just want the bottom line. We don't care how we have to get to it. We do not care.
Yeah.
I personally, for like just even looking at CIB, if PS4 and Xbox One, the next system they come out with is all digital, I'm not super worried about it. Like, it's obviously a thing that would suck. Like, no one would agree. And the heavens, if you hear the background, it's thundering like heck out there. It's something.
You mentioned GameStop.
It's something.
Storm.
It's something that would not be good. No question.
Now, my question to you is the Xbox that just came out, the all digital.
We're not carrying it.
Smart.
Absolutely not. I don't even know if I'm going to accept it for trade-in. We're definitely not carrying it brand new, 100%. And I'm very heavily leaning towards no. In fact, I told, this is a little CIB secret for you guys out there, but when Microsoft first was a very heavily rumored to do that weird thing with the Xbox One where they had physical games, but it was like a one-time use code. I told everyone at CIB, we're not carrying the Xbox One, we're not carrying the games, and clearly we're not taking trade-ins because it's not a thing. I was like, if that's a thing, I'm going to come out, the second they announce it for real, I'm going to come out on our social media and be like, we apologize, we hope you understand, we're not carrying the Xbox One at all. It's why we don't carry PC games.
They changed that real quick.
They changed it very quick. And that's why I feel like if they come out and say, the first company of Microsoft and Sony that comes out and says it's all digital for next, I feel like they're going to lose the next generation because I feel if it's possible, if there's enough time, that then, say, Microsoft says it first, Sony's like, you know what, there's actually this. Great. You know, and again, this is a whole another story. I will say, when I have to download a 3 gigabyte install on my PS4, it sucks. So I can't imagine downloading Red Dead 3 for 300 gigabytes. I can't imagine that'd be fun.
Yeah, for like PCs it makes sense. For consoles, they're not quite there yet unless you're putting like 2 terabyte SSDs in them.
Yeah, they're not quite there yet. But yeah, like I said, I'm not as worried because we have 40 years of games to go back, and just people, if that happens and it's digital only, people will be like, yeah, I get it to like stream stuff and whatever, but like I miss the PS4 now, and it's like, dude, we've had 45 years of games and like tens of thousands of games to choose from. It's like, I feel like there'll always be people who are like, I'm sick of this, kind of thing. So
that's the only way as well. Even if everything does go all digital, you have to encourage some type of physical way in order for any company to survive. Because they have to still be buying stuff for it. You can't just say, hey, this is out. Buy this. And
I know I'm biased on this, but my major point in all of these is it's best for the customer to have more options.
Yeah. 100%.
So if you have physical, then you have 1,000 different ways for them to buy it. They can buy it digitally. That's great. You can go to GameStop and they're charging $60 and you go, whoa, that sucks. Yeah. Then you go to your local place, your local CIB and they're selling it $50. You're like, okay. Then you look on Amazon and it's $54 and you're like, oh, okay. Or you look at someone on Letgo selling it for $30. You're like, cool, I'll get that one. That's mine. If you do it digitally and only digitally only, you're paying the 60, and that's what it's going to
Yep.
be. And you have no other options. Having a monopoly on something is never, ever, ever good. That's why I like having a GameStop close, because like if we don't change because they're there, but if we keep doing our stuff and we think we're doing it well, having a GameStop floundering the way they are close makes us look better. It's the Starbucks effect. It is what it is. It makes other local coffee joints look better for that. So, hey,
competition is the key to
absolutely. And if
business.
there's no competition there, and GameStop has to figure out what they're doing. They have to figure out where they are in the market. And honestly, I really feel like if they just screw the digital, screw all that stuff, start treating people right, they have to come out publicly and just essentially admit fault. Like that's really what they like,
Yeah.
Whatever. But like now we're paying our guys more and whatever. We want you to come in. It has to be a brand change, even a name change, like something, because GameStop is the plague.
Yeah.
That name is the
name
plague.
change would be
just
phenomenal.
anything, just a whole. We're closing every game. We're over the next 6 months. We're closing every GameStop store for a couple weeks. They'll be rebranded as Stop Game, whatever. Yeah, and it looks different. They act different.
We're different.
That could do it.
Yeah.
But you can't just be like, oh well, we sell retro now. It's like no, it's tarnished too much. It's just tarnished too much. But again, I'm talking about, hey, how do I fix my '98 Honda Civic? Well, just replace the Civic.
Pretty much.
Just replace everything on it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm suggesting, and that's not. You want to have to replace the windows and whatever. You don't want to have to replace the entire thing from front to bottom. So thank you, Mike and RJ, for joining us again. This was a great chat. I really had a good time with this, and maybe we'll do it again in a couple years if they're doing great.
We could do a revisit.
We could do a revisit, and I would have fun with that. So
GameStop definitely failed.
Yeah. Hey, thank you guys once again for listening. We very much appreciate it, and have a good one.